I'm afraid my talk is in English. In fact, it was a delight to hear for the first time some of the technical terms that I never knew in Greek. Okay, thank you, Panos. Dear Rector Christophides, Dean Neophytou, Faculty of Engineering, thank you very much for bestowing on me this Honorary Doctor in Engineering. The honor is very special to me because it comes from the University of Cyprus. Dear relatives, classmates, friends, and students, many thanks for honoring me with your attendance. And last but not least, dear Professor Anastasiou, thank you very much for coordinating the nomination and the overly generous introduction. In accepting this award, I would like to give some highlights from my life and my 50 years in research. And through this journey, draw some lessons that might be helpful to aspiring researchers, young researchers in science and technology. I was born in 1951. At a hospital in Bendaya. I think the younger people don't even know where that is. And it's a small community near the Hellenic period city of Soli. I'm not sure it still exists. I grew up, however, in the world part of Lefkosia during the freedom movement of the 1950s. And this instilled in me a patriotic fervor and the love of freedom and democracy that have guided my life. In 1960, I was proud to become a citizen of the Republic of Cyprus. And I watched with youthful admiration what freedom brought to this island over the next decade and a half. So my first message is to everybody, despite periodic challenges, please value and guard this precious republic. It is the main guarantor of your freedom. I attended 5 elementary school years in the then small village of Zakaki. My school had only 3 teachers, outstanding teachers, but the 3 teachers gives you an idea of how small Zakaki was at that time. Upon graduation from elementary school, I returned to Lefkosia. With encouragement from my father, I was lucky and blessed to attend the English school for high school. Lucky because it installed in me the love of learning, and that has guided me ever since. Blessed because I was surrounded by an amazing group of multi-talented classmates, and we were taught by an excellent set of teachers. The rich curriculum, the demanding teachers, the competitive atmosphere in the classroom, and the emphasis on athletics and extracurricular activities cultivated us and nourished our curiosity. It enabled us to choose our way forward. My talents, whatever they were, tended to be in the mathematics and physics area, and influenced by the Apollo space program, which was going on at that time, I decided to study aeronautical engineering. The lesson that I draw from this schooling is that a supporting family and good schooling set the foundation of responsible citizens and productive life. My university studies were delayed as I spent the next 2 years as a first lieutenant in the National Guard, where I was introduced to a wider cross-section of society. I did my best to be productive, learn from the experience, and picked up communication and leadership skills that have served me very well since. In 1972, I joined the aeronautical engineering program at the University of Bristol in a city that was and still is an aerospace center. At the time, the Concorde and Rolls-Royce jet engines were being designed and built there. The program was one of the best and most demanding in the UK at the time. My education in Bristol was outstanding, and through the daily labs and projects, I also picked up the importance of experiments in answering challenging problems in science, which has guided my research since. The invasion of Cyprus in 1974 came during my final year of my bachelor's degree. Nearly half the population of Cyprus, nearly half of the population of Cyprus, my family lost its property and business, upending our lives and turning us into refugees. Stranded in the UK, without any support, the catastrophe shook me to my core. My plans for returning to Cyprus and joining Cyprus Airways as the first aeronautical engineer from the island were destroyed, of course, along with the airline. The calamitous consequences to Cyprus convinced me that the only thing that cannot be taken from you is your mind and your knowledge. This reshaped me into a researcher and later on into a scholar. The deprivation and hard life of that year hardened my resolve and determination, which elevated me from an average student to one graduating with a first-class honors degree. The lesson here is that perseverance, confidence in your abilities, and hard work can take you through even the worst circumstances, whatever challenge, difficulty, or austerity you may face. It was during this difficult year that I decided that my future was in research and that the way to get there was to pursue a doctorate degree. I was lucky to be offered a fellowship by Caltech to study aeronautics in a department founded by Theodore von Karman, one of the founders of aerospace sciences. I arrived in America as a refugee with a very small bag of clothes and 5 books. I was immediately surprised by the warm welcome that I received and the friendliness and straightforwardness of Americans. Caltech is a small elite school in Southern California that I can best describe as a monastery of science. a monastery of science. Surrounded by some of the best scientists, engineers, and scholars in the world, I dedicated myself to learning the mechanics and physics of solids and structures, but also whatever else the science-rich, inspiring atmosphere offered. I adopted the prevailing mentality at Caltech that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I honed my scientific curiosity, learned to look widely and deeply at problems, and to leave no stone unturned along the way. I deepened my appreciation for the importance of experiments in the investigation of challenging problems, developed a pursuit of the new and original, and was taught to not publish results before their time. These are the traits that I have been transferring to my students during the past 45 years. The lesson from this educational journey is to dedicate yourself to whatever you choose to pursue, and along the way, take every opportunity to learn and to broaden your horizons. This will enable you to reach and expand your goals. After 5 years at Caltech, I accepted a faculty position at the University of Texas at Austin and moved from California to Texas. For those that understand the American scene, this was a somewhat controversial decision at that time. At Caltech, I worked on what was then a very new problem, structural stability, that of a propagating buckle in an offshore pipeline. Let me attempt to outline what is a complex problem very briefly. Think of a pipeline installed in the bottom of the sea. It can be designed to withstand ambient external pressure. And the pipeline remains stable until its geometry is compromised by something. An example is a fishing boat dropping an anchor on it. In that case, it collapses locally, and driven by the external pressure, the collapse propagates at high velocity, flattening kilometers of the line. This is the problem to connect with the East Mediterranean activities offshore. This is a problem that governs the design of those offshore pipelines. Driven by, another way to make it, the problem a little more approachable, I can say that the propagating buckle resembles closely the propagation of a falling row of dominoes after one of them is disturbed. The problem is multifaceted, involving large deformations, plasticity, contact, dynamics, and fluid structure interaction. Sorry about the technical terms, but I have to say something. And at that time, most of these problems could not be handled with the numerical tools of the time. So I spent the next 15 years of my career tackling these issues. So through these years of inquiry, I realized that the underlying mechanism of buckle propagation in a pipeline, which is again on a technical term, it's an up, down, up local response, is common to many other physical systems, such as the materials that undergo phase transformation. This then was the genesis of propagating instabilities in structures and materials, a discipline that is associated with my name. Examples include the crushing of cellular materials. So this, you're hearing now the English version of the problems. You heard the Greek one earlier. The failure of wood and fiber composites in compression by fiber king bending and propagation. The evolution of the alternate phase and shape memory alloys under load. The propagation of plastic deformation induced by Luderspanding in metal alloys. The neck propagation of polymers in a drawing process. The initiation and propagation of a bulge in rubber, polymeric and soft material tubes, and others. Again, to ordinary folks, those technical terms may not mean much, but I think the message is that they come from very different disciplines, technical disciplines, and they are important in very different technologies, but they have this mechanism of localization and propagation in common. So this class of problems that I just listed kept my students and myself busy for the past 30 years and formed the core of our research. The lesson I draw from this research experience is that a deep understanding of a practical problem can lead to unexpected research paths and in turn generate entirely new fields of research. My work has always involved the three pillars of research: experiments that help unravel the crux of difficult problems, analysis and constitutive model that help place the problem on a sound scientific foundation, and numerical modeling that helps reach a solution efficiently. Although more time-consuming, I have found this holistic approach to problem solving very satisfying. I highly recommend it to young researchers. I realize that the current fast pace of research and global competition may make this challenging. However, the answer is foster collaborations that complement your own work, and that will help develop complete answers to thorny scientific problems. Throughout my career, I have been blessed with talented students who enabled this three-pronged approach to problems. I'm both grateful to them, as our work could not have reached the levels it has without them, and extremely proud of them, as they have developed successful careers in academia, in research labs, and in research and development positions in industry and startups. The lesson from my career, the mentoring career, is to cultivate in your students curiosity and the love of learning, set high standards, high expectations for them, instill the work ethic that is a requirement for success, and promote high ethical standards. Work with them closely and guide them to excel, and you will be rewarded. Now I have a little message to the Ministry of Education, that I guess under which the University of Cyprus falls. I have watched over the 30 years of its life this university with great interest, and I've seen it grow into an excellent school, as Banos mentioned some of the rankings, which is really worthy of praise and pride for all. Looking to the future and thinking that the university should reach the top echelons of world universities, it is necessary that the state accept the university's request that undergraduate classes in the sciences be taught in English along with Greek. I'm afraid whether our politicians like it or not, the language of science is English. If this is agreed upon, it will allow the university to recruit internationally and to hire the best and the brightest, who, given the resources to develop to the best of their talents, can make the university and Cyprus proud. In closing, I'm very proud of my Cyprus roots and for the enduring tools this island gave me. I am always also thankful to the United States for welcoming me so warmly as a refugee 50 years ago. Both experiences were instrumental in my career, and I remain forever grateful. So we've reached the end. Let me thank again the University of Cyprus for this special honor, and to you, the audience, for your patience and presence. Thank you.